Well, hello and welcome to Inside the Memorial. This is a podcast that really talks with members of our community who help bring our mission to life. And I'm your host, Maria Miller, and I'm going to just jump right into it. Today, we're going to be here talking to Sal Martinez. I'm really extremely excited to have you here. Sal is a retired U.S. Navy Master Chief, a current member of our board, and someone who's dedicated his life to helping others find purpose, especially veterans navigating really life after service, so the reentry or the transition. And after 25 years in the Navy, Sal, you didn't stop serving then. You just kind of shifted what you do a little bit. So you continue to serve, and you are now the Director of Veterans Initiatives at Columbia Southern University. You got that right? All right. And that is where you work to expand access for education to veterans and to their families and military-connected families. So welcome.
Thank you.
So happy to have you here.
Excited.
I'm going to kind of throw you into this easy. I have no hard questions, and we'll just see. We may not do anything that's on my list of questions. So think back to the young Sal when you were 10, 12, maybe even younger. What did you do to pass the time? What did you do back then? And did you have a vision for, when I grow up, I'm going to be in the military?
No, that's a good question. At that age, I was definitely really into sports. Played a lot of baseball, played some basketball, some football, soccer, pretty much all the American sports that you could think of. So I was heavily invested in there growing up through my teenage years. I think one of the best moments of me growing up in that time was seeing my brother. He retired from the Army as a sergeant first class, but seeing him go through just wearing the uniform, coming back, graduating high school and coming in uniform, to me, that was just impressive. What are all those shiny things on your chest? And, I was in there saluting him as a kid. But I remember he went to Korea and he came back with some starter jackets. Back in the day, starter jackets were pretty a big deal, right? And I was a Buffalo Bills fan because my brother was a Cowboys fan, and me and my brother didn't get along. So Cowboys were winning, the Bills were playing against them. So somehow I became a Bills fan for that short period. I'm no longer a Bills fan, but anyways, long story short, he brought these starter jackets that he got from Korea. And I was just like, wow, what is this whole world thing that you're talking about? Because I come from a town of 35,000 and we didn't really see much or travel. So all I knew is what I knew. So yeah, to answer your question, just that, the aspiration, my brother inspired me. I also have a sister who joined the Army. They were just both inspirations to me.
Wow. Where did you grow up?
In Del Rio, Texas.
Okay.
Right on the border in Texas, like 5 minutes from Mexico. Born and raised, about 35,000 people.
Oh my goodness.
So to see some of my heroes being my family members was a big deal.
Wow. So, all right. So picture yourself back then. So how would you describe now your adult self? Explain what you did in the military and the Navy. How would you explain that to a 10 or 12-year-old?
Yeah, it's tough. I can tell you myself, growing up, I was like, no way I'm joining the military. I'm not following people's orders and stuff like that. Then as I grew up, I realized that, if you're stopping at a stoplight or a stop sign, you're in a sense following an order. So it wasn't too big of a deal for me to actually step in and, join the military. When I first joined, I was in cryptology, right? So looking that and telling people now, people are like, what does that even mean? And I always say, well, you deal with some communications, some secret communications and satellites and missiles and stuff like that. Then I always lead or always end with, I've told you too much, you know what I mean? Give this top secret. But so telling my younger self, I'd be like, hey, you'd be doing a lot of cool stuff that people aren't privy to. So that was the exciting part. Then also the latter part of my career was more, human resources, the recruiting realm, dealing with kids, parents, relationships. And I think the best part was just changing people's lives. We have a 17-year-old kid who was just like me, maybe 15 years before. I would never do that. I'm not going to follow orders. And I was like, I'm the same person you were, 15 years ago.
Did you ever get to see them after? So you do the recruit, and would you see them down the road as like all grown up? And
Oh, yeah. So, I've heard stories too, but I've done it myself when I'm in San Diego or someone. I'm like, you're my recruiter. And, and they tell me the great stories of how they've grown, right? Not every day is a great day. And you could say it at any job, but how much they've grown just as a person, just physically, the transformation, the way they talk, that they're doing something bigger for themselves. I think that's the best part.
That's very impactful. I think about our community salutes, and we did
Oh,
that. We're doing it again this coming year. But just looking at those young recruits,
my God.
I'm thinking I'd like to see them in about 5 or 10 years, and just see the beautiful people that they
No,
grow up to be.
and quick story with that, when I joined, I was 17 years old. Um, my first duty station was Hawaii, and I get there and they're like, "What year were you born?" I was like, "1982." They're like, "I got shoes older than you." All the older salty, sailors were like, "Who are?" I was that guy when I was getting out. I was like, "When were you born? 2002?" Like, So it's just full circle.
Older.
Oh my God,
It
it's great.
is indeed. Is there, now, obviously in civilian life, is there a part of military life that you kind of like, wow, unexpectedly, I miss that?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it. I think people retire, like I have, and are scared to say they miss a lot of things about the military just because they want to be fine when you move on, and so do I. But I do miss it. I do miss the camaraderie. I do miss, people that you work with, you in a sense, hang out with, and you get to meet their families. And that's not necessarily what I've seen, maybe, in the civilian sector. Not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I can just tell you from my experience, those are things I do miss. Wearing the uniform, looking in the mirror, making sure you look sharp. I mean, it's a big deal because, you are representing everyone, in the military, just plus everyone in general.
Was it odd for you when like, what did that feel like when you wore that uniform for the last time?
Oh my God, it was good. And I know you were at my
Yeah.
retirement ceremony, which I really appreciate. But
Oh, I was honored to be asked.
that was one of my last moments that I just saw a video about legacy and how that some of my legacy that I get to leave to my kids. Take the pictures, the videos, because as they grow older, they're not gonna remember that,
No,
but I will.
right.
And and the pictures will help tell the story as well. And the fact they get to be in the pictures with me, big deal.
Yeah. How old are they now?
Well, I got a 23-year-old.
That's right.
So, yes, it's 23-year-old. My boy, he turns 8 in March, and my daughter just turned 5.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're getting
Fun.
big.
Yeah,
They
it
get
was
big.
right. Brett, who's helping produce this for us now, before you got here, I was telling him that it was like just incredible how fast my kids already like, oh, I just feel like I just had them. So anyway, so anyhow, you have talked, and I know you have a passion for the whole transition from military to civilian life. Just kind of curious, what's a challenge that you see with people that people have over and over again? Is there one particular thing?
A great question. Um, I think it's different for everyone, but the one challenge is the uncharted territory. Once you get out or retire, for my instance, I was 17 years old. There's a lot of stuff I don't know because all I knew was the military. I've never had to get insurance. I never had to get health care. Why? Because the military provided that for me. So as you get out, that transition of uncharted territory is like, who do you call? What do you mean insurance? What is that? What is term? What is, life insurance? You just never had to do that. As naive as that sounds, I know it's for most people who never served in the military, you know it. And what insurance is, and yeah, I knew some of it, but I just didn't know the full details. So that was the hardest transition, is understanding things after the military.
It's interesting, and just listening to you explain that, it's like it should be a no-brainer for them to come up with, okay, here, you're done. Here, go through this little, I don't know, class or something before you graduate to civilian life.
Well, they do. They really do a good job. I would just tell you from my personal perspective, the mindset I was in as you transition, there's fear, there's, some anxiety. You're just worried about the next step. So when you should be paying attention,
You're right.
you're just not all there to pay attention because you're more worried about where's my next paycheck going to come from. Where are my kids going to go to school? Do I have to move? There's so many other things. So when they do explain it to you, it's a little bit more, it's not as easy as someone just explains it to you and you're like, okay, I got it. So it takes time.
Yeah, I mean, you think about any of those major life changes, retirement, but this seems even worse because when you're retiring, you're not dealing with having to worry about your family or feed your family, and hopefully you've prepared enough that you get something coming in. But yeah, you're right. It's a whole new uncharted world. Wow. So, I mean, do you think that people are they missing also maybe structure or I don't know, camaraderie, identity, community? Do some of those things? I mean,
For sure. Yeah, I tell this story a lot. Um, what you don't realize you love about the military is the guidance and the structure. Every day I knew what time I had to wake up, where I had to be, what I had to do. All I had to do was show up. In as you transition or you get out, it's more like you need to know what you're going to do. You need to make your calendar and you need to get it done. It's no one really reminding you to get it done or, hey, where you at in the process? Because it's just you're held to your own accountability versus other people ensuring that you're getting the job done. So I think that's one of the things. I think that's a challenge as well for people, that end up getting out.
so in your current role, at the university, is there because you're dealing with a lot of that. I mean, there's active military folks, but you're also dealing with veterans. Do you have that opportunity to help them much with the transition, or maybe not in that role, but in another aspect, maybe
Yeah, no,
volunteer work?
and that's what I love about where I work at Columbia Southern University is it's not really a pressure to go to the university. It's more, hey, talk to the veterans. If they're interested in school, maybe offer that. But worst case, you make sure that veteran's okay. That's kind of like the Orton work.
Right.
It's another home for me as I transition out. I'm like, man, what am I going to do next? And thankfully I found American Legion and, they're like, oh, we're going to do, meetings at the War Memorial. This is awesome. Right. Then eventually I started coming here and seeing what the War Memorial does for vets. And it's unmatched.
Yeah, I love it.
I love everything about it. I love just looking outside, seeing this big American flag, when it's not so cold and snowy outside.
Right.
This is a stop for me.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. What about people in your past? Is there a moment or a person or something that happened that really just like top of mind just stuck with you?
Oh, yeah.
Which is too many, huh?
There is a few. I think in 2004, 2003, I was on the cusp of getting out of the Navy. I was like, I'm getting out. I'm still young. I was maybe 21, 22 years old. And just be like, I can't take this. People tell me what to do. Obviously, I was still immature, right? And still growing. And, I had a guy, big guy. His name was Phil Oliver. And I'll never forget being manhandled and not violently, but just, being in a sense shoved against the wall and say, no, you're too good. You got way too much to give. So you're either going to do this, which is a job in the Navy. You're going to do this job in the Navy, or you're going to do this job. You understand me? And I was just like, wow. To me, it's the love, the moment I needed to say, all right, this guy I look up to, who's a big guy, by the way, and I can't move his arm from me, is see something in me. That's the mentorship.
Wow.
That's back to the part that I could say things I miss. Some of that, providing the mentorship and being given the mentorship.
It's like that smacking you and saying, snap out of it. Snap out.
So, if I can say a good mentor, it'd be someone like that. But obviously, there's many stories.
You ever done that for someone?
I have, maybe not that way because that guy was really big, but definitely had some, stern conversations with people, just ensuring that the military is not a bad way to go.
You have such a beautiful way of, because I've watched you, even done things to calm me down when you've seen me hyped up in certain situations. And I can just see that calm, steady presence that you have. So I could imagine it's been very impactful for others.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. So thinking about recruiting and that
Mhm.
part of your life, what would you say that young people probably misunderstand,
Wow, great question.
about military service?
So, yeah, I think the military service, I've heard phrases like, I'm not selling my soul and, I can't, people aren't going to tell me what to do. And I think there's a misconception of what it is, right? You're serving your country. There's approximately 80% of the population that can't do it for whatever reason. So to be in that 20% to do it, it is an honor. And as you go in the process, maybe years down the line, you won't understand that until someone puts their hand out and say, thank you for serving our country. And you don't think about it. You're 20 years old or whatever the case. You're like, cool. Until the next person comes and does it. or until that kid stops you and salutes you, just changes your mind.
Wow.
But it does take some time and some maturity to realize what an impact just wearing the uniform and being in the military is.
Yeah. Is there, I guess, thinking about readiness and people, not readiness equipment, but is there like something that gives you confidence in, I think, the future or things that concern you? Because
Yeah,
that kind of attitude that you
for sure.
described feels like it's more prevalent now than it.
Yeah, and I think time evolves, right? Obviously, people evolve. Back to my story when I was, brand new, and someone said, "Oh, my kid's older than you." Sure, but there's things that that generation was bringing.
Mhm.
Now that they're so much smarter. There's so much, fingertips, technology at your fingertips. It's good and bad. I get it, but at the same time, they're just so much more knowledgeable, smarter, and just quickly able to adapt. Is there pros and cons? Sure, it depends what generation you ask, but I'm so excited about what this generation can do, and hopefully, some of them think about serving.
I love it. You have hope. I love
Yeah, I do. I
you
do.
have hope. That is
There's
wonderful.
good people out there, and some still want to serve.
Yes. So now that you're in civilian life, what are you enjoying the most? I have an idea what you might answer, but
Well, there's the biggest one, obviously, my family.
yeah.
I think being present, given some latitude by, the university that I'm currently working to be with my family, how important that is. But also, I think finding these spots that you're welcome, right? Like I said, the American Legion, the War Memorial, how we welcome veterans, and you can see it everywhere. Everywhere you walk, just the tributes that the War Memorial and organizations pay, I think is awesome. But also just have a place for vets to call home. It's outstanding, just to see another veteran and just talk. Because when you see two vets talk, they might not know each other, but it's like they know each other. And people see that. And if I see a vet I haven't seen in like 10 years, we're just going to pick it up.
Yeah.
And it's all of a sudden we haven't missed a beat. We'll talk forever. And I love, as I continue to grow through the ranks, that someone would just stop me. And I used to tell the young kids this: if a veteran stops and talks to you and shakes your hand and tells you his whole story, they earned that. You listen,
Mm.
because they've earned that 5 minutes, maybe 10, maybe 15, depending what veteran you talk to, they've earned that. So I love everything about it.
So you've mentioned the War Memorial and everything that we're doing, and I appreciate that because we have put
100%.
so much focus on it. And we have probably just under 2,000 veteran attendees in 2025.
Yeah.
Probably about 3 dozen, about 37, 38, 40 events that we did specifically veteran
For sure.
related. So we are working hard to do it. What would you think that, you could explain to people to let them know, hey, the War Memorial is doing, it's your story. That
I think you know this about me. Um, is come here. This isn't a place that's going to charge money. Come here and see um, everything the War Memorial is doing, not just for veterans, the community, but from my side, just the veterans specifically, what they're doing. I mean, go outside,
Mhm.
look at Brave, go see the plaques for the Vietnam vets, walk around, go into the room where they actually show all the military, items there. Go see the stuff, walk around, because there's history here.
Yeah,
There's great stories here, and take a tour if you can. That's one of the things I would tell anybody.
I love that.
But veterans specifically, please, please stop by and just walk
That-
around.
What more can we be doing? I'm sure there's more we could be doing.
I don't know if it's the War Memorial. I think as a community as a whole, is continue to get the word out of things like we're doing here at the War Memorial, the vet to vets, the dinners, the breakfast, the monthly meetings, right? Just be present, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and a lot of great information is
Mhm.
getting put out. That's one thing I would say is more people spreading the word of the good deeds that happen here. Like I said, not specifically just veterans, but everything in general. The kids, the older population, the vets, just the community. There's so much stuff that
Yeah,
goes on.
I love that. We have a vet to vet coming up on the February 4th, 5th, February 5th. And I haven't been at one in a while because I've had conflicts on my calendar, and I really do enjoy going to them. And I've witnessed what you've described, where I remember sitting next to one veteran, and he said, "I've just met like 2 new friends," and it was adorable, new friends. So I just met new people that he can connect with, and they just get, I'd like giving them the time to be able to, instead of everybody getting up and talking, let them kind of visit with each other. That's the camaraderie that we were hoping to be able to share. So what about the American Legions? How many people would you say come here for American Legion meetings?
Yeah, I would say, definitely about a dozen
Okay.
during the meetings. And
Far more members than that.
correct. Yeah, there's definitely more members in that. There is some challenges, right? I mean, just could be driving in the snow, whatever the case is. But there is great chapters that come here, and great people in those chapters that really just want to continue to help out vets. And what a better place! No better place to do it than here.
It's
So,
kind of got some charm. We're sitting.
oh my goodness,
So we were sitting in the library just redone about a year ago, and looking up at the ceiling. It's amazing. So yeah,
your team is
cool place to be.
yeah, it totally is.
I'm just so glad. I'm so grateful for the things that we're doing, and like I said, looking forward to this year, America 250. So we've got programming kind of all around that. In fact, our annual Red, White, and Blue event, that's our annual big fundraiser, we've just got some fun ideas lined up.
Excited.
I'm excited. It's gonna be still elegant and wonderful as it's been in past years, but it's gonna have
Excited.
a real new fun little level there of just something unique, right? So, all right. So I think I've asked you is there anything veteran related you wish that I asked that I didn't ask?
Not necessarily. One thing if I have this stage, I would like to thank you and the team for what they do. Like I said, for the community, but for me specific, what touches my heartstrings are the veterans.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything the War Memorial does. If I see people in uniform, how people just really go, the employees, and say, "Hey, thank you for serving," and little things like that, it means a lot. And I can just tell you, for me, I know it means a lot to me. It means a lot to a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
Thank you. I appreciate that. One of the things that we've done, and we've made it part of our mandatory education, is training staff on just what to and not to ask a military, a veteran, how to engage in those conversations, just different branches and understanding what's not. This is not like real heavy duty, but it's just a good overall, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but just an education and a platform to kind of get staff who, I've got a lot of young people that work here in the hospitality service, and people who maybe had a family member in the military, but pretty distant still.
Yeah, so I've seen some great examples of that, and everyone's got a story. And when we talk to veterans, they really have a story.
Yeah.
So I would encourage everyone to just maybe go up to events. Say, "Can you tell me your story?" Man, that goes a long way. And sure, you might be there for a while, but once again, I feel they deserve it.
Well, I won't do it at a bet to bet where I go round and round.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
I could pick one. Okay, so unrelated, coffee or tea, or do you go for those energy drinks?
Yeah, and I'm more of a coffee person. But I don't know if I need the coffee. It's more maybe I just want to get the coffee. Maybe I need a little break from the kids. So I might go to a local store and get a coffee.
Honey, I'll be back.
Yeah, oh yeah, and maybe 5-10 minutes. But when I come back with the coffee, my dog's ready to go. My kids are ready to go. So yeah, maybe I need the coffee now that
Yep. Are you a morning person or a afternoon?
I'm a morning person.
Are you? What time do you get up?
I can be up 4 or 5. I don't set an alarm clock, but I usually wake up about 6.
Probably all that training.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I remember I worked with this woman who's just said, "Oh yeah, no, I my alarm goes off and I pop up out of bed like toast." And when she explained, I just cracked up and I thought, I am so not toast.
It's a good analogy.
I'm probably I don't know, something that just wilts and lays there forever. Not toast.
No. Now, I mean, obviously I have the kids who definitely make sure I'm up.
Yeah. So on a weekend when you don't have to get up.
Now I'm up. Those
So,
kids wake up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do like the early quiet mornings, with that coffee on the back deck or just,
I don't get those.
You will someday.
Maybe, yeah.
You will someday. Do you have a dog?
Dog, yeah, big dog.
Oh, what kind of dog?
He is a shepherd mixed with some pit bull, but he's about 60 something percent shepherd. And
Oh, he's
if you don't know about shepherds, I mean, the guy's
Oh, yeah, no, they're smart.
just power and wild. I mean, the guy needs to run around. He needs to jump around. He needs to do everything that involves moving. And he keeps me, moving for
I
sure.
had a shepherd rescue once, and I had to rehome it because it was needed more than I could give
Right.
it because they need constant, work to do. I was totally amazed. What's your dog's name?
Waffles. What? That was my wife's name. My wife named him Waffles. As soon as she told me, I laughed just like you, and I said, absolutely.
Waffles it is. Oh, my
Yeah.
gosh. That's great. All right, so you got a favorite book that you would recommend to anybody?
Yeah, I think there's one book called 50 Laws of Power. It's a good read. It's a leadership read. It helps you understand, social influence, some leadership, um, positioning. A great book, great read. And that's one I would recommend.
50, that's a lot of
Mhm.
laws.
Yeah. But it's definitely a good read, like I said, and I recommend that, especially for leadership. Understanding it, kind of getting behind the why behind the why of why we do things, and there's a lot of things that you probably do as a leader, you just don't know the why behind it. So when you read it, you're like, wow,
Yep.
okay, makes sense.
I love it.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. All right. So if there's one thing you wish more civilians understood about veterans, what would it be?
Great question. I would just say we're all the same.
Hmm.
Just because a veteran, maybe wear a uniform, but this also can look at the veteran looking at a civilian that, we're all the same. You can disagree, but usually there's some common ground that you can agree on. Maybe it's just being a good human being. You can do that if you wear a uniform, if you don't. I'm a believer in just being a good human being. Maybe holding the door for someone, maybe saying thank you, maybe saying you're welcome. Those little things, in my opinion, or hey, how's your day going? But not one of those ones where you walk by and say, hey, how you doing? And you just keep walking.
Right.
More, hey, how's your day going? And stop. No, tell me
Yep.
about your day. Exactly. So, I think that goes a long way. It doesn't matter if you wore a uniform or not. I think everyone could be a good human being.
I think so. You are a wonderful
I
being.
appreciate that. You are as well.
This has been such a pleasure. I've been wanting to have you on a podcast, and to be honest with you, it's been a really long time since we've done one, probably half a year. I don't know. I took a long hiatus for summer. But it's like, Sal, we're gonna get Sal on here because I know he's got a story and interesting perspective to share. So thank you for sharing your
Thank you.
perspective. Thank
Having
you
me.
for being on here. Thank you for all your military service and all the service you do now and being on our board.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in and follow us on social at warmemorial.org for our website. And we're always doing something, refreshing that website frequently. So please check it out for new events, new offerings. We'd love to see you on campus sometime. And thanks for tuning in and have a wonderful rest of your day.
And God bless.
And God bless.